All right, so now we're going to look at something called the ternary operator, which you're probably going to use all the time. And it's a shorter way for writing a conditional. So what I'm going to do here first is do just a basic condition using an if statement, and then I'll show you how to do it with a ternary operator. So let's say using an if statement. So I'm going to say if the age variable is greater than, or let's say greater than or equal to 18, then let's do a console log and we'll say you can vote. Else, then we'll console log and say you can not vote. All right, so pretty simple. If I run that, we get you can vote because I set age to 19. If I set it to 13 and save, we get you cannot vote. So I want to show you how to write this in a one-liner using a ternary operator. So let's say using a ternary operator. Now this syntax is actually really simple, but it does confuse a lot of people when they're first learning it. So I'll try to explain it the best I can. So there's basically three parts to it. The first is going to be the condition. So in this case, we're testing to see if age is greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so that's what we want to evaluate. Then we want to use the ternary operator, which is simply a question mark. And you can think of this as the if, because what comes after this is what you want to happen if this is true, right? So in this case, we want a console log, and we're going to say you can vote, right? And then for the else, that's going to be represented with a colon. All right, so else, then let's do a console log and we'll say you can not vote. If I save that, we're going to get the same result as this. All right, so three parts. We have where we evaluate the condition, we have what will happen if that's true, and then what will happen if that's false. So it's really simple. And if I change the age to 20, then both of those should say you can vote. Now, in a lot of cases, you're going to set a value based on a condition. You're going to set a variable value based on it. So let's put a comment here and we'll say assigning a conditional value to a variable using the ternary operator. So let's say we have a variable, we'll call it can vote. And we want this to contain, we could set it to true. Well, yeah, we'll set it to, we'll make it a Boolean. But we want that to be true if the user is 18 or over, and we want it to be false if they're under. So first thing we want to put here is the condition. So let's say if the age is greater than or equal to 18, then we want our ternary. And then next is what we want to put, what we want to store in that variable. So we could store a string that says you can vote, but I'm just going to put a true here because I want that to contain a Boolean. All right, and then else, then we want it to contain false. So let's go ahead and console log can vote. And if I save that, we get true. And then if I change that to, let's say 17, then we get false. And it doesn't have to be a Boolean that you put here. You could also, let's make this can vote too. You could have a string that says you can vote, and then if that condition doesn't pass, then we'll have a string that says you can not vote. Okay, so now if I console log can vote 2, then it has this string you cannot vote. That string has been assigned to this variable. So you'll see this a lot in all areas of JavaScript. Now we can also have multiple statements. So if we want to do multiple things, within the if and the else, we can do that as well. So first thing I'm going to do is show you the long version of what I want to accomplish with the ternary. So I'm going to create a variable called auth that represents if we're logged in or not, or if we're authenticated. and then I'm going to just create a variable called redirect, and I want to set that to something different based on if this is true or false. So I'm going to go ahead and just do an if statement first, and we're going to say if auth, so that's going to be either true or false. If we're authenticated, then I want to do an alert, and we'll say welcome to the dashboard, right? And then I want to set that redirect variable, I want to set that to slash dashboard. Else, then we're going to alert, and let's say access denied because we're not logged in. And then I want to set that redirect variable to slash login. All right, and then we'll just do a console log of the redirect variable here. So if I save that, we see welcome to the dashboard alert because auth is true, so this is going to run. And then when I click OK, this is going to continue, and it's going to set dashboard into the redirect variable. Right? If I set this to false, now if I save, we get access denied, and we get login put into the redirect variable. So we can severely cut down this code using the ternary operator. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me just comment this out, and then we're going to go down here and say const redirect, and we want to conditionally set this, right? So we're going to evaluate auth. We're going to use the, well, actually I can't, let me just comment that out too. So we're going to evaluate auth, whether that's true or false. And if it's true, I want to do two things. I want to alert and set the variable. So I'm going to put parentheses here. And then else, I'm also going to do an alert and set the variable. So I'm going to put parentheses here. So the first thing I want to do if it's true is my alert. So I'll say alert, welcome, Jesus, I can't type, welcome to the dashboard. Okay, and then I'm going to put a comma after the alert because I want to do multiple things here. And I'm going to put in here my string that I want to set, which is going to be slash dashboard. So that's the true. If it's false, then in here I'm going to do an alert, and I'm going to say access denied, and then I'm going to put a comma after alert, and what I want to set the variable to is slash login. So let's go ahead and save that, and you'll see since auth is false, we're getting an alert that says access denied, and when I console log redirect, it has login. If I change this to true and save, welcome to the dashboard, and then we have slash dashboard. So this does the same thing as this, but shorter. And it's preference when and where you want to use the ternary. So let's see. The last thing I want to show you is that we can use a shorthand. We can use the AND operator as a shorthand if there's no else, right? Because not every if statement, not every conditional has an else. You might just want to do one thing. So let's say, for instance, if I come down here, let's say we want to evaluate auth, whether that's true or false. And if that's true, then I want to do a console log and just say welcome to the dashboard in my console. Else, then nothing. I don't want to do anything else. So in this case, if we're using the ternary, oops, I'm sorry, that should be a colon. If we're using the ternary, we need to have an else. I can't just do this. If I do that, I'm going to get a syntax error. So I have to have an else, but if I don't want anything to happen, I could do this. I could say null, right? So now it's going to, let me just comment this out because I don't want to keep getting that alert. Okay, so we see welcome to the dashboard because this is true. If this is false, then we're not going to see anything because I just set this to null. But a shorthand to this, if you don't want to do else null, is to use the double ampersand, the AND operator. So I can say auth and then double ampersand and then console.log and then welcome to the dashboard. And then I'll comment this line out and save. It doesn't do anything right now, but if I set this to true, then we see welcome to the dashboard. So this comes in handy a lot. I use this a lot when using React with JSX. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, but it's very convenient and very compact. All right, so that is the ternary operator. Hopefully you understand this, so let's move on to the next video.